Hi guys, my name is Elvis. Welcome back to my Power Apps tutorial. Today I'll show you how you can filter a tasks based on the assigned projects and also how you can make a collapsible drop down in Power Apps. So let's dive in. These are a list of all the projects on this screen. When I select a project, it shows us the list of all the tasks and their current status and every other information. I can select again and it collapses that. I can select another project and you can see all of the tasks that are assigned to this project. You can see the total number of tasks assigned to the first project here, which are 5 in numbers. The other one, you can see the total numbers and so on and so forth. So let's see how we can create this in Power Apps. So over here on my Power Apps Studio, I have the UI completed, but right now none of the functionality is working. But right now there is no functionality to toggle the height. Also, we've not had a functionality yet to see the totals for each items. The way this is structured is that we have two galleries. One is the outer gallery, which is gal project list, which holds the titles for all the project names. Then inside of this gallery, outer gallery, we have an inner gallery that holds the list of all the tasks, and you can also see the task collection here. Right now, our inner gallery or the tasks gallery returns all the tasks irrespective of which project it is assigned to. So right now we're going to have a mix-up of tasks on the web redesign. So what we need to do first is to filter the tasks to the project that matches the web redesign. Okay, and now to do that, I first need to check if there is any ID to match. So I can come over here to my outer gallery list and check. And this is my project list. This is my project list. And I can see that we have a project ID. Okay. And these are unique ID for each project in the collection. I'll go over here to my inner gallery and check what we have on the collection. And I can see here also that I have multiple IDs based on a particular task. So that means there's a one-to-many relationship between the project table and the task table. So that means I can have many tasks in one project. Okay, so that means we have something to filter by and get the correct results. So what I'll do here on the inner task gallery, I can do a filter here and say filter the tasks where the project ID for each task matches this item dot project ID. Now this item dot project ID is fetching the items coming from the outer gallery. The same way we would have a label plugged in on the outer gallery and say this item dot project name, and it returns the data from the projects list or project gallery. Same also, we would have the expression this item and it pulls data from the outer gallery. Or most people can get confused when you're using this item on the items property of an inner gallery. So whenever you do that, it's always pulling data from the outer. So I'm going to have this, then close the brackets. So now this will filter the items correctly. Okay, we have this completed. So what I'll do next also, I would like to get the total counts, because right here on our sample, we can see the total count of each items we have on the tasks. So for me to be able to get total counts, I don't want to have to create a different label. So I'll just add that. I would append that to the design team label here. So I will just add a concatenation here. I'll add a bracket. I'll concatenate, then point to the gallery. Okay. So I will go ahead and grab the inner gallery name. I'll plug that and say dot all items count, which will give me the totals of the inner gallery. I would concatenate and add a bracket. And now I can have the correct totals for each task for a particular project. You can see for the first I have 4, this 4 as well. Then for some other projects, I can have 2 items for customer portal, and some I have 3. So now we are getting the correct number of tasks for a particular project. So the next task now will be to collapse and expand based on when a project is selected. For me to be able to collapse my gallery, my inner gallery, when I make a selection here, I'll need to toggle the value of my icon here, because when we click on it, I want it to change to the bottom when it's open and change to the right when it's closed. All right, guys, so I'm having a classic icon here, which makes it difficult to make this work. So I would advise you make use of the modern control icon when you're trying to do collapsible drop downs, but I'll go ahead and work with it so you can see why this may be difficult to use with the classic icon. So on the icon here, I would say if this item dot is selected, that means if this current spot or the item gallery item is selected, I want to expand it, right? So it will be chevron down, right? Else I want it to be icon dot chevron right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and select the first one here. When I select, it should be down. If I go over to the next record to select, it should be down, and this one will revert to the right. So now we have the chevron toggling based on selection. Now we also need to toggle the height of the gallery, the outer gallery, so the inner gallery is hidden. So right now I'll go over to my project lists. I'll go to the template size property. Right now it is 500. I will change it to a value 150. When I get to 150, we can see that the inner gallery is hidden. So I'm going to toggle this height. I'm going to toggle the template size, which controls the height of every other thing. I'm going to toggle the height of the template size height, because this is a flexible height gallery for the outer gallery. Make sure when you're trying to do a collapsible drop down as this, or a collapsible menu, you need to make sure that you're making use of a flexible height gallery. So right now I have 150, which should close up that those heights. So what I need to do is to check the current orientation of the icon 4. So I'll copy that and I'll go over here and I'll say if icon 4 dot icon equals icon dot chevron, if it is facing down, then I want it to be expanded. It should be at a template size of 500, else it should revert back to 150. Okay, so now it's loaded up. So I'm going to click on the example. So I'm going to click on this, and I don't think this is working, and that is because the icon 4.icon is not returning a value that matches this right here. It's returning an enum value, means it's returning like a record, a lot of items out. So we can't really use the classic icon here at this point, or we can also use it, but it takes some extra text and concatenation, which I don't want to do. So the best way or the easiest way to get this to work is to make use of the modern controls. So let's actually try to see what icon 4 returns when we try to look up on the icon property. Let's go over to this text here and change the value to point to the icon 4. Built-in icon column chevron right. Can you see that? Then for the one down, it says built-in icon column chevron down. So it means it's returning some extra string before the actual chevron right or down text, so which adds some extra work for us, but we're just going to use it that way. But you make use of the new or modern control chevron modern control icons. It just directly spits out the actual value, which is chevron right or chevron left, without the extra prefix. So I'm going to just copy this value, built-in icon column chevron down or left. So I'm going to change this back to what it is. I'll go over here. So let me plug in the insert icon. Let me make use of the modern control icon. I'm going to move this to the stats, and I'm going to adjust the icon property. Right now it is add. I'm going to change this to chevron right. And I'm going to say if this item dot is selected, give me chevron down and chevron right when it is not selected. So now I'm going to select this. It gives me chevron down. Then when I select something else, this expands and the other one closes up. So I'm going to point to this now on this area here. I'm going to say icon 6.icon, where it equals chevron down. So remember, this returns a string, so it should be the actual string for the modern control. So if it is to the right, we want it to show, so if it is facing down, we want it to show 500, else it should show us 150. for the template size. So now I'm going to collapse this, and it still doesn't work. So I don't think this is pointing to a particular icon. I think it's returning the entire icons on all the entire list. So I think what we can do here also is say if this item dot is selected, gallery dot selected, give me 500, else give me 150, which is still not going to work. So we basically can use the template size at that point. So what we can do here is to make the template size. I think I can delete the new icon. So what I can do, I want the height of the inner gallery to collapse based on if that particular record of the outer gallery is selected or not. So right now the height of this is 575. Let's come over here to our main task here, or the base stuff here. So I'm going to say here, going on template size. So right now for the base container, the one just before the first item in the gallery, or the first child in the gallery, I would make the height static, which is 500. And if I change that to 150 here, I would see that that would collapse the gallery and hide the items, which shows that that current item is not being selected. So what I say here now is if this item dot is selected, I want the height to be 500, which means it should be expanded, else you should give me 150 to show that that is being collapsed. And now let's see that in action. So by default, it should show something like this. What I would do lastly is to set the height of the template size to be based on the height of this container. So it's dynamic. I can take the name of this and go to the template size of the outer gallery, then say the template size should be that container dot the height. So that references the height of the container and makes it dynamic. So it might not show up properly until you hold down the Alt key or a run mode. That's how the flexible height gallery displays. So right now, when I select an item here, it expands it. Then when I select another item, the first one collapses and the new one expands. So that's how you can create a collapsible menu in Power Apps. And stay tuned for more. If you like more contents like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.